Chat, I have dice. Chat, I have dice. Chat, I have dice. I have dice. I can't stop playing with the dice. That's all I want to do. All I want to do is just play with the dice. I have so many dice. I'm gonna eat them. I'm gonna put them in my mouth, chat. We're gonna put the dice in my mouth. Okay, 1 second. We're just gonna... You hope I choke? Why do you want me to choke? They're nice, though. They're nice. Hello, 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 everybody. Hi. I'm not on antidepressants. Maybe I should be on antidepressants. Hello, Willow. Thank you for the follow. Mwah. Let me, swoop. Yes, I am having a lot of fun with my dice. Lullaby, thank you for being first. Pink, thank you for being second. Kimizu, hello, 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 hello. Thank you for being third. I'm glad we actually got the order right this time. Oh, I'm sorry I hurt your ears. Can I just now? God damn it. All right, so we're going to try to do this with the dice in my mouth, okay? It's fine. It's fine. I got this, chat. I got this, chat. I can have a dice in my mouth at the same time while I'm doing this, and it's fine. It's easy. Anyway, it's what we're talking about. Yeah. All right, fine. I won't eat a dice. I won't eat a dice right now. Oh, God, I'm zooming in. No. Thank you. Thank you. I like to think I'm adorable. I like to think I'm very... All right, let's give it a minute. Let me say hi to everybody. Hello, Master Wolf. Love to see you. Hello, Pink. Hello, Kimizu. Hello, Wario. Whoa, I can't say that. Warrior. Warrior. It's hard. All right, chat. It's just hard. Okay. Warrior Cat Fan. Anya. Hi, Anya. Lovely to see you. Ocean, good to see you. Hope everything's going well. Master Wolf, mwah, how you doing? I already said hi to you, but I'll say hi to you again. Lilipad, good to see you. Hello, Mio. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I hear you're a new recruit. What kind of recruit are you? Do you come pre-spec or do I gotta stat you out? Good morning, Pinky. Good evening, Pinky. Hello, Moreau. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi, Keeper. Good to see you as well. Hi, Vanya. Gotta make sure Vanya knows I am saying hi. Hello, Casey. Good to see you. Good to see you. Echo Infernal, lovely to see you. Desi, hi Desi, I am having fun. Dare you to put them back in my mouth again? Fine, I'll put them back in my mouth. All right. Oh. I'm sorry, Ocean. Hi Aura, good to see you as well. And hi Echo Rose, I'm glad I hope you had a good stream. Bacon fish for dinner? I would love some fish. Do you want to make me some fish? If Gene has dice in his mouth, why would I hate you if I have dice in my mouth? Explain that one. How is that a hatred? Because Desi, I have to explain this to you, Desi. All right? You give suggestions like my inner voice does, all right? Like you say, hey, Gene, do this thing, and my brain's already like, I was going to do that thing anyways, so... You're like a little devil on my shoulder that I was already going to do anyways. Chat, 1 second. I got to step off screen for just a second. Behave yourselves. Nope. All right, where is it? Nope, that's not it. There it is. Found it. I'm back. I'm happy that your ears only got hurt. All right, chat. You want to know how many dice I can fit in my mouth? All right, chat. We're going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 15, 23. I ran out of dice. But 25. A lot. It's fine, Jan. No, why would I swallow the dice? I hardly even had to put any of them on my tongue. Most of them were my cheeks. All right, sorry, I'm supposed to be doing the southern voice still. Anyways, chat, so I have a plan today, chat. I have no plan, but I do have a plan. I sat down for the last 10 minutes before stream, and I wrote down every idea I had. In chat, we're going to read through my ideas and see if there's any good ideas in here, okay? So every thought I had for 10 minutes. And we're going to see if there's a single good thought here. All right. Page 1. You ready? I think it would be fun to be sealed in a box. Probably not a great idea. Probably can't do much with that, but I think it would be fun to be sealed in a box. All right, number 2, tummy hurt. That was more of just an observation that occurred at the time. Maybe not the best. Sour is fun, but feels unnatural, and I believe the flavor of sour is very unnatural. I can't explain it, but the way it feels on my tongue doesn't feel real, you know? So sour doesn't feel real. All right. Fruit is named weird. Who gets to do that? If I take over the world, I'm renaming fruit. I'm renaming fruit, chat. I'm going to rename the fruit. I mean, who names something honeydew? Actually, that one makes sense. Gala, Fuji. Them names don't make no sense. Hi, Echo. Oh, Echo, you're a good girl, ain't you? Why do you put dice in your mouth? Because somebody asked me how many dice I could fit in my mouth, and I had dice. And they were there. I also haven't taken my meds today, so that might also be why. Oh my god, it is because I didn't take my meds. It's the meds. I will keep Percy Simmon. That'll be the reason why. I can't take my meds now or else they'll prevent me from going to sleep. Oh, no. So, chat, hi, lovelies. My meds... Sorry. My meds are mostly for impulsiveness, because if I don't take my meds, I do really, really impulsive things, including getting a giant big gulp slushy from 7-Eleven and almost eating dice. We got to keep reading my ideas, though, chat. We got the next ones. Okay. I've also decided I'm going to change the names of people in chat. Chat, I'm going to start changing your names because I want to name things. So I'm renaming all of you eventually. It's just going to take some time. All right? All right. Once I take over the world, though, chat, so you're fine. I can rename you later. Mostwolf, you're going to become Moss Elf. We're changing your race. All right. Slushies are just really frothy ice. That's more of just an observation at the time. All right, page 2. Dice ice. I want to make ice that is in the shape of dice so that I can crunch them, all right? I believe I should steal gold and melt it into dice and somehow make a profit out of it. Evil plan. Villain plan. Don't know when it's going to happen, but we're going to do it. Dirty cup. That was more of just me observing that I had a dirty cup on my desk. Spoons are the best dishware. Spoons are the best dishware. It's true. It's true. Ketchup packets are terrifying. Because if you ever look at ketchup, ketchup expires, right, chat? Condiments expire. Why are they kept for so long? I know if I go to any office space right now, there's going to be a drawer full of old mayo packets. They ain't no way them good. Especially when you talk about like ketchup and everything else. I only like wrong spoons. Now hear me out. The wronger the spoon, the better the mouthfeel. I have a plan on going. I'm not eating expired condiments on you. I don't know if they're, what do you, no. Yes, Gibbets, exactly. Exactly. That's the plan. That's the plan right there. Mm-hmm. Kylist, I don't hate you. But I am going to go to a thrift shop. I'm going to start acquiring all spoons that they got. And they're all going to be the same, but different. Oh, you're requesting praise. My bad. Kylist. Lovely, Kylist. You're absolutely wonderful. You're fantastic. You're sweet, you're kind, you're adorable. I'm pretty sure that you got a good fashion sense, because, no, you do got a good fashion sense. I've seen how you dress. You are cool. I like your sword. I really, really do appreciate you, Carson. I'm super happy that you're here on the stream. You are amazing, wonderful, fantastic, great, and lovely. Thank you so much for the redeem. Mwah. I can't have to wait 3 more hours. All right, Willow, you be careful. You write that down right now, and you better remember that, all right? We. All right. Ketchup, evil. Packet, evil, villain, plan, come back to later. Wait. No, sporks are awful. 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 We're going to talk about this, chat. I'm sorry. This is very important to me. Sporks are garbage. Sporks are garbage. They are the worst. They are spoon, but with slots in them. They are good for one thing, 2 things, maybe 3: mashed potatoes and yogurt. The fork prongs are not long enough to be used for any proper forking. If you're gonna fork, you better fork with the longer forks. And if you want a spoon, soup, stew, nah, useless. Then it's not a spork. Then it's a fapoon. That's a fapoon, and a fapoon is great. Wait. Is spork an American thing? Is spork an American thing? Wait, did my ears go down when I blinked? I haven't seen it because I close my eyes when it happens, but when I close my ears, did you see the... I was so cute. I blinked and my ears went flip. But I never see my ears do that because my eyes are closed. I just blinked fast enough. That was adorable. I feel hungry. Should I eat strawberry yogurt, muesli, or noodles with pesto? Noodles with pesto. Noodles with pesto. They're so... Oh, hi, sorry. Oh, right. Okay, so ketchup, evil, packet, evil, villain, plan, come back to later. So there is a villain plan involving ketchup packets, but I don't know what I was going to do with that. I think I wrote sheep or sleep, but I can't read it. Edible cans. Edible cans. I don't know what I'm going to do with that either. But I think there's something there. We can make edible cans somehow. Would be ideal. Because then, you know, you have like a Coke can, and you're just like, I drank all the Coke, and now I need to crush it. And then you crush it, and then you just have a crushed metal can. Imagine you could eat it. But I feel like if you could eat it, it'd probably get soaked with whatever's inside. And also, under pressure, it might explode. But Oh, why'd you change your name? Hello, Pomo. Mwah, I like Pomo. Cans give money in Germany. Well, you can't eat money. Shells for old people. I don't know. There's edible cans? Really? Interesting. Shells for old people. I don't know what I was thinking there. I don't know why I thought that old people can't have shells. Body soap bad. And if I leave eye drops open for too long, are they bad for me? Me too, Willow. Me too. It's probably not the best space for it. I will only make edible water balls. That's gin. What? That is not delicious syrup. That is gin. Why was it gin? You can eat balls. I do like that gin was the drink of choice for every single mobster for the longest time. I feel like gin is probably one of the more complicated alcohols to make. But apparently you can make it in a bathtub. What are we talking about? Oh, I have a list of all the ideas I had in the last 10 minutes. So that's all my ideas for the last 10 minutes. How does everybody feel about those ideas? Any of them good? Any of them stick out to you? Do any of them seem like the next big thing for stream? You want me to make what on? You want me to make gin on stream? I have want to try to make like cider. All right, I'm not watching Vanya. I'm not watching Vanya. You can go ahead. You didn't do anything. What'd you do? What'd you do? What happened? What happened? Nothing happened. I can't. You can't what? What did you... Wait. Vanya, gonna name you Big Booba. No, that's not it. I was looking, chat. I was staring. I didn't see anything. What happened? I was spying on you, Vanya. Didn't work. Disappointed. Well, chat, today is a wild card day, and you know what that means? That means I can do whatever I want to do. No. Did you type a command? What'd you type? Vanya, Vanya! No. You're back. Fuck, I gave it to the wrong person. Echo, you're such a bad girl. Such a bad girl. Vanya, you're not allowed to leave. One second, chat. I need to check on something. Okay, we're good there. All right, sorry, we were playing music earlier. Do we want music? Let's do... There you go. Anyway, so chat, today's wildcard day. We all know what that means. I've already remodded them so they can't escape. That means that I can do whatever I want today. The problem is, chat, that I do what I want to do every day, and I haven't actually figured out what I want to do today. Yeah. So, we have choices. I can be an idiot, and we can sit here, and I can yap for like an hour. Epic? I don't have the attention span for Epic right now. We just did Epic. I need variety, chat. I need variety. But I cannot watch Princess Bride on stream. They would stop me from doing that. Yeah, dude, everything kind of gets repetitive, though. Like, it was a lot of fun when I started, but, like, now it just feels like there's, like, you know, a play cycle. You do one thing, you do it, you do the next thing, you do it. Princess Bride is a lovely movie. I suggest checking it out. I know I'm only shutting down people's views and opinions, but like, Killer Frequency. We could watch music videos. It's kind of boring. I think I'm gonna play something, but I don't know what I want to play. I need action, chat. I need to do something. Do I have anything installed? Online gambling? If you would like to donate me the money, feel free to do so. The online gamble? Have I played Project Zomboid? Oh, wait, that is it. Killer Frequency. Let's do Killer Frequency. Oh, Princess Bride is a lovely, lovely movie. Old movie. It's a grandfather telling his son a story. Not his son, his grandson a story. And, what don't I care about, Vanya? For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, Vanya, what don't I care about? Gene doesn't care. Doesn't care about what? And so, accepting defeat that the cosmos had apparently handed to him, he went to sleep, dreaming of what would have happened if Cake-san hadn't ruined... Wait. Wait. No, it's going bad? Don't. How far are you? Did Cake-san ruin my chances? Did Keiki-san ruin my chance? I don't want to date Big Mac, but if I don't want my... This isn't gonna have a Nana end, is it, chat? This isn't gonna be like Nana, is it? Am I gonna get pregnant and then they're gonna leave me, and everything's gonna be really depressing and everything's gonna fall apart? Is that what's happening, Vanya? Have you seen Nana? Chat, have you seen Nana? Wait, does nobody know about Nana? Oh my god, chat. Oh, I quit watching Nana. So, Nana is a anime where two girls named Nana get on a train and meet each other, and like stuff happens. You know, one is in a punk or kind of rockish band. One is like a very chill, down to earth girl. All of them are trying to do their best in the city, and stuff happens. A lot of stuff happens, and it gets sad. Oh, it gets so sad, and I quit watching it. I got so into my emotional feels that I could not. Oh, Princess Bride's a movie. Go watch it. It's a movie with people who do things like the grandfather and the grandson tell a story, and the princess is trying to get married. It was in love with this person, and they were in love, and she thinks the person that she loved died, so she goes and marries somebody else, and then the person that she loves comes back, and shit happens. It's a great movie. Go watch it. Old movie. It's probably free somewhere. Well, I'm alive to come here. Yes. Yes. Hell, hi, Spell. Mwah. Okay. Killer Frequency. Do you want to hear some Princess Bride trivia? Sure, why not? I'd love to. And it has Andre the Giant in it. Andre's great. Love Andre. Andre's amazing. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to play Killer Frequency. I think it's going to be good, hopefully. Every time we try, we get nowhere. Wouldn't it be nice if we were just normal people? Yeah. Trying so hard to act like we... I forgot we got to do drunk karaoke next week. Chat. I'm gonna go buy like 10 bottles of soju, and we're gonna make it. I'm gonna get snacks. Gonna be salty snacks. I can make it like a scene. That's what I'm gonna do, chat. I'm gonna make it a scene. Oh, I'm excited now. I didn't expect to get excited about it, but drunken karaoke is gonna be a lot of fun now that I think about it. And I'm going to do it badly. Oh, chat, I'm not going to try. I'm not trying, chat. I'm going to heavily drink. I'm going to sing awfully. We're going to do this like it's a classic Japanese karaoke bar, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's adorable, Moss Dwarf. And I'm glad they added those scenes because they made it a lot better. They made the movie a lot better by having those scenes, making it a story told between it. Like, it makes it just something so deeper and incredible. Hmm. Killer Frequency. La da 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 da. Okay, you ready, Chad? We got this. Da 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 da. I don't like being on this side. Chad, I gotta rearrange. Give me a second. Nope. Wouldn't it be nice if we were just normal people? Yeah, trying so hard to act like we don't care. But it's true, you do. There it is. Okay, are you ready, chat? You ready? You ready? You ready? I'm ready. I'm not ready. I might be ready. We'll find out. Chat, speak for me real quick. Chat box is broken. Oh, no, it's working. Yes, Vanya. What's up, Vanya? Frankfurter. Wiener. Huh. Chad, I don't think this is right. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so I think this is more of like a, like a mystery game. Oh, I need to lower the sensitivity. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay, we learned how to pick up an object, chat. Cool. All right, we'll be gentle. Sorry, I'll calm down a little bit for you. Okay, Pomo? Here we go. Wouldn't it be nice if we were just normal people? Yeah, trying so hard to act like we don't care. But it's true you do. Da, 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 da. Oh, I guess you're right. Is the game too loud? Oh, 1 second. Good? Okay, glad to hear. I'm happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. It felt a little bit loud, okay. Hi, Allie. How you doing? I think it did feel a little loud, so we're gonna lower it just a little bit. Coming on, inspecting objects. Press E to inspect. Okay. K-fam, amazing. Coming on is coming on is coming on is coming on is coming on. Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now time for me is nothing, cause I'm counting no age. Now couldn't be bad. Now you shouldn't be scared. I'm good at repairs and I'm under a snap. Tangible, but you didn't think so. I command you to. Panoramic views. Look, I'll make it all manageable. Ooh, glowy clock. Love it. Oh. Hi. Hi. Oh, you're kind of pretty.
You hear something, Peggy?
Huh? Hear what?
I thought I heard someone
What?
yelling, or I don't know, a howl.
Forrest, is this a joke?
No, I almost swore I heard something.
Oh, and here I was thinking you'd finally started to ease up. You probably just heard some cats outside.
Cats?
You know, 4 legs, whiskers, tails, not dogs.
I know what a cat is. But, I mean,
4 legs, not dogs. Oh,
stray cat problem or something?
What's up, girly?
The rats moved in. Anyway, you ready to do the pre-flight checks?
Seriously?
Let's do a chat.
To do these checks every time. And do you have to call them that?
Reggie pays us to check the equipment before each show, and he pays us to call it a pre-flight
It's perfect.
check. But if you're sure you don't want to...
Let's do the checks.
All right, fine. Let's get through this.
I'm ready.
Alrighty, this is your captain speaking.
Really?
Come on, let's have a bit of fun with it for once.
Wait,
Buckle in,
press.
folks. We're about to hit some tubular rents.
Press for
Let's start with
Peggy.
record playing.
Okay.
Okay. Grab a record, stick it on the player, and hit play. Easy.
All right.
Got it.
Yeah. Here we go.
Great. Now turn it off. All right, up next, phone line buttons. Your captain will be waiting to take your call on line 1.
Wait, how do I put it back? 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 Ah! Fine. All right.
Line 1 is the leftmost button.
All right, Peggy. Ready for you on line 1.
Mm-hmm.
Who's
I'm waiting,
calling?
chat.
This is Captain Donald Key calling. Call me Don. You get it?
Yeah.
What's up, Don?
Great, and button 2 works just the same. So, let's move to the Peggy button.
You mean the producer line?
Like I said, the Peggy button. Press it when you need my help during the show.
Is there a Peggy mute button?
They haven't invented it yet. Now come on. The Peggy button is the 3rd one on the phone line.
Yeah, I got it.
For you.
Come on,
Press
Peggy.
for Peggy.
This is your brain, Forrest. Sorry I made you such an unfun turkey.
I'm a turkey now, am I? Okay. Are we almost done?
Sound blaster next.
That's an easy one.
I guess one of these.
189.60.
There we go. Always good for a cheap laugh.
All right, we're almost done. Just the volume sliders left. These should let you affect pretty much everything. But let's test it with a record. Play a record and change the volume with the music slider.
Amazing. Okay. Wow,
Play a
Carlos,
song,
that's
grab
fucked.
the sliders and move them up and down. Go nuts. Sliders should be right in front of you. Like
Honey,
directly
I'm
in front.
playing with them already. Honey Bunch, we good?
All right. Seems to be all working. We done, Captain?
We sure are.
But I'm
Coming in for
confused.
landing. Local time?
Should not encourage you.
I knew you had a fun side.
It's my fun side that gets me in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's get the show started. After your introduction,
Mhm.
our first segment is Guess That Scream.
What?
Thought that was a joke.
Why are we guessing
Nope,
screams,
and
chat?
Don't blame me for this one. It's Reggie all the way, and he demands we do it tonight. Okay, Forrest, shut the music off.
Ah, fine. All right, let's do it. What do we
Okay,
got?
You're live in 3, 2.
Oh shit, we're going actual live. Oh god. Chat, I'm not ready for this. Why am I actually terrified?
Good evening, Gallows Creek. This is your host, Forrest Nash, and you're listening to 189.16.
Why am I actually scared? Why? I'm not ready for this. I feel like I have performance anxiety.
Gallows Creek's only late-night phone-in talk show. I need to let you know about a special competition we have for you this evening. Guess that scream.
This is actually one of the station manager's better ideas.
Here's how it works. I'm gonna play you a scream, then you call and guess that scream. We need you to guess why they're screaming. Did they stub their toe, saw off a finger, or discover the corpse of a loved one?
That's good. Now, Forrest, hit them with the tape.
God,
We'll play that scream in just a second.
I'm so fucking
Listen close,
nervous.
And then call in to guess that scream. Peggy, what do you mean play the tape? I used to have a tape guy do that for me.
You're not in Chicago anymore, Forrest. Here in Gallows Creek, you get to be your own tape guy.
Okay.
Come on, I gave it to you yesterday. Forrest, you do have the tape right. You knew we were doing this tonight.
Peggy, let's be real. Guess that scream is a terrible idea. No, I don't have the tape.
It may be a stupid idea, but...
We're
that's
live on the air
okay.
right now, and he hasn't found anything.
We're going to need a scream tonight, Forrest. And you're the one at the mic, so...
Are you serious?
Peggy, you want me to scream? You know this show depends on my golden voice, right?
Come on, Forrest, just do it. That's enough dead air already. Just think of a scream and let it rip.
Fuck. Okay, here we go, chat.
God. Sorry about that. I'm back. Had to step away there for a second. Listen close, and then call in to guess that scream.
The falling from the cliff scream.
Well, folks,
That was awful. That was so bad. Why do I feel personally attacked by this?
Maze, and one free fried dough. Fried dough. Just call in at 555-239-KFAM with your guess. Now, here's some music.
Chat.
Get dialing.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Time to go on the journey that is Last Processor with their hit song 1980X.
Oh, God, Forrest, that was amazing.
Thanks.
I can't wait to hear what people think that was.
How the hell did I get into this mess?
Lighten up, Forrest. That's going to be the highlight of my week.
Breathe all the way out and try to scream.
Oh, Forrest, there's a call coming in.
Ah!
Time to turn the music off.
Where's the call button?
Welcome to 189.16, The Scream. Caller, you're talking to Forrest Nash. What's going on with you tonight?
Forrest, thank God I made it through. My name is Leslie Harper. I'm the 911 operator and police dispatcher for Gallows Creek.
I tried. I breathed all the way out and screamed. Slow night?
Leslie, I guess it must be a slow night for crime if you've got time to call in. What can we do for you?
Chat, like, my biggest nightmare is not being prepared for something like that.
I need help.
Forrest, I recognize her voice. I'm pretty sure that actually is our 911 operator. I think this is
Wait,
real.
what?
Peggy, I'm not gonna be happy if this is a prank. I don't do prank segments on my shows. It's in my contract.
Forrest, I really don't think this is a prank.
Sorry.
Leslie, I'll level with you. I find this hard to believe, but I'll hear you out.
Wait, I got this.
What exactly is going on?
Sheriff Matthews is dead.
What? Sheriff Matthews is dead?
I couldn't get any response from the department. That's never happened before, so I came to the station and I found him.
Oh, God. Poor Sheriff Matthews. Do you know what happened to him?
Someone got him. Someone got up very close, and I really don't want to say what they did to him.
Did he fight back?
I don't know. I think he tried. He's surrounded by bullet casings. I think he tried to shoot at whoever it was, but...
I don't understand. Where are the other officers? Do they know? Have they secured the scene or whatever cops are supposed to do?
No, I checked everywhere. Deputy Martinez is here.
They didn't check on it. I can't believe they didn't.
Tied up and locked in a holding cell. I called you right after I found her.
God.
Why would they call us?
Please don't tell me that this hick town only has 2 cops.
Don't be ridiculous.
We have 3. Ah.
Gunderson is on leave again.
Leslie, do you have any idea who could have done this?
Not a clue. I didn't see anything on my way over.
Leslie, you need to call over.
Why are we being
or
called?
Quiet Ridge. They need to send someone over from their department.
Why? Hi. There's a person dead at the police station.
Something's
What
wrong.
is up?
I'll have to go there myself.
Radio
Let
station.
them know what's going on and bring help back with me.
But if you leave while there's a murderer on the loose, who's gonna man the emergency line?
That's why I called. Forrest, I've routed all 911 calls
What?
that come into you.
What? On the air? It's
No, I'm sorry, but this is a terrible idea. What on earth made you think to do that?
You're the only person with experience manning a phone line around here. You're the only person equipped for the job. Besides, there are transferable skills between the two. It's like an interview. You ask questions to get information you can use. People talking, you know? Guide the conversation and know when to jump in.
You do know that I'm so good at interviews, they sent me from Chicago to Gallows Creek, right?
So I've heard. But that doesn't matter. And besides, there are 2 of you. You can talk to each other, discuss ideas, work together. Well, let's have some on-the-job training right now. I have an emergency. I need to get an unconscious Deputy Martinez out of that holding cell. It looks like whoever attacked her threw the keys into the cell after they locked the door.
Got
Is
it.
there any way you can reach the keys?
No. There aren't any bars to the cell, and the door itself only has a food tray slot. And that's too narrow for me to reach through.
There's gotta be another way in.
Another set of keys.
There's gotta be another set of keys somewhere in that office. Those can't be the only one.
Of course. Yes, there must be another set.
Where might another set be?
Check Sheriff Matthews.
Maybe Sheriff Matthews had a set of keys on him when he, you know.
I couldn't see any at a glance, but I didn't really look up close. 1 second. Oh, I think I'm sick. Sorry, Sheriff. I'm just gonna turn you over and... Please don't stare at me. Oh, wait.
I'm having so much fun with this chat. Hi, Venfire. How you doing it?
I think I got the cell keys.
There you go, girly.
Sheriff
Get
Matthews
them
might have saved
keys.
the deputy. Do the keys work?
They do! Give me a minute to untie Deputy Martinez. I'll be right back.
So far, so good, I suppose. How are you feeling, Forrest?
I'm quitting KFM if this is a prank.
I swear to God, Maggie, if this is some sort of joke, I'm leaving this town. I've never heard of anything like this happening in broadcast.
I've never heard
Oh, we
about
need a different
anything like
track.
this either.
Wait, how do I have this
But we're
again?
here now, Forrest, and we've just got to see what happens next.
Come on, Martinez. There we go.
We're gonna play some better music. There we go.
Just gonna sit you in your office chair. We'll head to my car in a minute. I'm back. Deputy Martinez is still out cold. I'm taking her in the car with me to get
Oh,
help.
that covers all the sound.
If
Okay.
the killer came back now, Martinez would be a sitting duck.
Oh, right. You're leaving? We're on our
We're
own?
gonna be on our own. Just Peggy
Oh, I did not.
and
Let me
no
go
one
tweet to
else
go live and tweet.
responding to emergency calls.
Hi, titties. Holy fuck. Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna like joke chat. First thing I pulled up was just
You and Peggy just
just
work together like you did earlier. You can
just
do this.
titties.
Now I'll be back as soon as What? My car! My car is on fire!
What do you mean it's on fire?
How the hell? Did it just go up in smoke? What happened?
Wait,
Yeah, it's not NSFW.
no way. This can't. Well, Forrest, we have big trouble.
What's happening? What's that noise? It sounds like whistling?
Whistling? It can't be.
Oh my god. I can see him, but he's dead, right? Right? With that mask. How the hell is he?
Who, Leslie?
Mm-hmm.
The whistling man.
The whistling man? Who's the whistling man?
He was a serial killer back in the 50s. Wore that mask. But he's dead. He's... What the hell?
Oh, God. Do you think he attacked Sheriff Matthews and Deputy Martinez?
Yeah, shoot at him.
He's coming this way.
Stay inside and lock the doors.
Right.
Oh, chat, there's a timer. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Forrest, come on. You need to focus.
I was focusing.
My car's torched. We need to think.
Hide in the station.
Stay put and hide in the station. You should be safe in there.
We can't just stay in here. I need to go get help. And what if he gets in? What if he finds us?
There should be police cruisers at the sheriff's office, right? Like, you should take one of those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could work. Let me check if Martinez has any. Just reach into your pocket there. And yes, got him.
She is so
First one,
dumb.
car 3. I saw that parked out front when I got here.
Nice one, Forrest.
There we go.
But wait.
It's fine. My choices will be fine, chat. Don't worry about it.
The car. The whistling man is right there.
Deputy's gun.
Martinez surely carries a gun, right? Could you use that?
Deputy Martinez's gun is missing. I guess the whistling man must have done something.
And the
with
other
it.
one is empty.
The sheriff must have a gun, right? Can you see it?
There was a gun next to him. Let me grab it.
It's empty.
Shit. It's empty.
He must have emptied it trying to defend himself.
So it's not gonna work.
There must be a weapon lockup in the station, right? Could you grab something from there?
I saw it earlier, but as you might have guessed, it was locked. But maybe one of these keys I got earlier will have
God, she's so stupid.
No. 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 Oh, shit. None of the keys work.
Are there any other weapons lying around that you could use?
I didn't see anything earlier. Let me check.
I mean, they really don't train you for an immortal killer, right?
All right. It looks like the whistling man left her with a baton, pepper spray, and taser. I feel the only one if I'm carrying Deputy Martinez. Which should I take?
He's wearing a pep mask. We'll do taser. Taser probably the best.
Gotta be the taser, right?
Got it. I'm just going to grab grab Deputy Martinez and then... Do you hear that?
Nope.
No, I can't hear anything.
The situation.
Be careful. I don't like it.
Me neither.
Dun,
But it's an
dun,
opening,
dun,
and I've got
dun,
to take
dun,
it.
dun, 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 dun.
If you can hear me, it's time to move. Just lean on me.
I do not know,
There
Callist.
you go.
Are you sure about this, Leslie?
No time like the present, right? So,
Oh, hey.
here we go. Again, you're hooked into dispatch now, so I should be able to radio you when I
Alexa,
reach the
stop.
car. If I reach it. Speak to you soon.
Well, good luck.
This is the part where the killer comes out of nowhere, isn't it?
You know, I've got to say, this really wasn't what I expected when I came into work today.
Well, they always say you have to be ready for everything in live radio. Oh, I think we've got Leslie back on the line. I'm putting the call through.
Hello? Forrest? Peggy?
What's
This
up?
is Leslie. Are you there? Over.
We're here, over.
Leslie, so I guess you made it to the car then. Over?
Sorry about the CB chat. Old habit. But yes, we made it to the car. Deputy Martinez is in the passenger seat, still out cold. I don't see the
There we
whistling
go.
man anywhere, and I don't plan to wait for him. So I'm going to get us moving.
Yes.
Jesus! God damn it! Get back! Get away from her!
Leslie, what's happening?
The whistling! No! Get off her, you son of a bitch! Yeah! Take that!
Leslie, drive!
Don't worry, Deputy Martinez. We're out of here.
Hey, we made the right choice.
Leslie, are you two okay? Did you get away or...
Forrest, that taser, definitely the right call. Oh my god, I can't believe we escaped.
Well done, Leslie. You saved a life. Just another day for you.
Oh my god, yeah. But let me tell you.
I don't know. What do you call it? Dog?
Leslie, how long do you think it's going to take to get home?
Gallows Creek isn't Nowheresville, but it's pretty damn close.
Hey, don't judge my laugh. Hello, Hidori. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see
3
you.
hours each way. Slightly less if I put my foot down.
That long?
3 hours each way? We have to fill in for that long.
That's the way it is. I'll be back as fast as I can.
Damn.
Anyway, once I'm in... Oh, I think Deputy Martinez is starting to stir. Forrest, Peggy, I've got to go. I'll be out of range soon, but I'll radio back as soon as I can once I got the cavalry.
Take care.
Leslie, be safe out there.
Oh, hi, Crow. Lovely to see you.
Deputy Martinez.
Folks, you heard it here. We've got a killer on the streets of Gallows Creek tonight. Please make sure to stay safe.
I'm not making a mess. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're counting on you. We're going to get back to the show meanwhile. If you have anything on your mind or have any information
Can't
about this
believe
Whistling Man character,
we're gonna be
then
doing
give us a
crime
call.
shit.
We'll talk here on 189.16, The Scream. For now, here's another hit record for you all to enjoy. This is not what I signed up for, Peggy.
This is actually insane.
Did she really say it's going to take her 4 hours? This guy
I think I'm doing a
really
great
has
job, chat. I don't know about you.
Forrest, that's not helpful.
I know, I just...
This is the best job ever,
Who's
chat.
this Whistling Man character anyway?
He was a serial killer back in the 50s.
I gotta
Edward
throw paper
Marshall
balls all day.
Went around in a
I get
freaky
calls from killers.
mask.
Oh, Stretch. Sorry, thank you. Thank you for the kiss.
Folks in Gallows Creek. No reason for it. Just-
Yeah. Oh, what happened to him?
Okay. What happened to him?
Well, police
No,
chased
I'm
him
praising
up Travis
myself.
Point one night.
There's
We call
Peggy.
it whistling. And it was, well, it was on this night actually. The police cornered him, jumped into the river. His body was never found.
So is he alive? Dead?
Yes.
What's the story?
Yes.
Story is, he's biding his time, waiting to take revenge on the town.
All right, that's the story. What's the truth?
I always
Other
want your
than we
praise.
have a whistling killer on our hands tonight, I don't know.
I guess we'll find out what we're dealing with.
Damn it. I'm getting worse at this.
I guess so.
At least we got the word out, I guess.
Ah, made it.
What listening figures do we get at this time?
On a Thursday after midnight, could be around 35.
35. Isn't 3,500?
Wait.
I didn't realize Gallows Creek was that large.
No.
No,
35 people.
At best.
35.
Chat.
At best.
We get close to the same numbers as they do. This is great.
It's a school night.
And what's the population of Gallows Creek?
I don't know exactly. A little over 1,000?
Oh.
How many?
I
did
don't
get
hate you,
before?
Desi. I don't hate anybody.
Before my career exploded and I ended up on a midnight hour talk show in the town of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before that.
Around 5 for most shows on the low end. Big gas could pump that up to 10, 15, easy.
5,000 on the low end?
I hate nobody.
Like that.
5 million.
Million?
Oh, sorry for the ad chat.
Sometimes that's just the way it goes. At least the Whistling Man hasn't killed me yet. I guess.
Yeah. I guess we're
Wow.
gonna learn a lot about perspective tonight, huh? Oh, we have a call coming in. Take it when you're ready. Okay, Forrest, shut the music off.
Fine.
Hello, caller. You're live on 189.16, The Scream. Is everything, all right? Who is this? Are you, hello?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
A little hateful push and pull. Oh,
What's your name?
whoa.
Why are you
Hello.
calling in?
He's really trying, man.
know my name. I've come back from the dead to kill again. No one's safe.
Do you accept requests? I've got a list of names I'd love to see in the obituaries.
Maybe you must make a sacrifice to us.
A sacrifice? To us?
I mean, me. We want.
Cheese dusted pretzels.
I mean, I want cheese dusted pretzels. Or I'll cut your face off.
Goddamn kids. I'm cutting them off.
Not yet. I want to deal with them.
I also want a mega gulp.
We also want a mega gulp.
Come on, kids.
Kids, give it up. I know you're just having fun, but there's been death tonight. This really isn't appropriate.
Hey, suck it, old man. Gallows high for life. Woo!
For anyone just tuning in, we do, in fact, have an actual killer out in the streets tonight.
Sorry, Desi. I won't breathe
This
at you,
next one's
okay?
dedicated to all of you staying inside with your doors and windows locked.
189.16.
Let Storm Riders take you on a rock and roll ride with the Glam Jam. Peggy, what the hell was that? Kids pretending to be a killer who right now is stalking the town?
It's a thing.
This game would be amazing in VR, chat.
Kids
This
are-
game would be so good in
People
VR.
praise pretending
Can I play this in VR?
By pretending to be this Whistling Man character?
They think it's funny, but it's not. It's
You found me on what? You found me on Poly AI? There ain't no way. There ain't no way. I'm on Poly AI. What? Wait. Does this have VR? We'll see if this is VR. Oh, it does not look like this has VR support currently. No. This one does not. Maybe there is one that does, but this one does not. Ah, it'd be so cool though. Oh my god. Actually, you know what? I think I remember this. Okay, we're gonna take a look at it. Real quick. Give me a second. Okay, where can you? I gotta actually find the website for Poly AI. Really? It's kind of scary. Well, you know, I know it'll probably happen eventually. I think Poly AI is an app. Okay. Well,
Funny at all.
There's no chance that our whistling man was just...
honestly, not that surprising.
Leslie...
No, that's real.
Christ.
Let's stay positive. We still have a show to do. We already have another call.
I'm not on Gen AI, am I?
Let's do this.
When you're ready, shut the music off.
As long as they don't use my voice, I'm happy. Oh.
Hello, caller. You're live on the Scream with me, Forrest Nash.
What? I dialed 911. I need the sheriff right away.
Okay, right. Well, I'm filling in for 911 tonight. What's your name and what's your trouble?
My name is Sandra Sharp, and I need the cops now.
I'm sorry, but the cops aren't coming. Leslie's on her way to...
Oh, first can I say, yeah. Why?
You gotta
Also,
help me then. I drove to the edge of town for a
you're
gym.
such a good little
I
kitten.
dressed like the whistling
Such a
man.
good kitten.
Knife in hand.
Oh god, it's actually happening.
You went out for a jazz run? What is that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's jazz running, baby. And it got my butt all the way back to my car before I got slashed. But I dropped my keys somewhere along the way.
That's what you asked for. Yes for yeah.
I've got a place to
Yes for a long yeah. So I did it.
get moving.
There you go. No.
Is there anywhere else you can go? Do you have any friends nearby?
Yeah.
I'm not going back
There
up
you go.
there.
Oh shit.
Oh shoot. Oh, he's back. Look, I don't know a thing about cars, but I gotta start this engine without the keys. And you're gonna have to help me.
Wait, I don't...
I'm so sorry, Jay. Good luck.
Get down beneath my spare sweatbands. I'll call you back when I find it.
You're listening to 189.16, The Scream. Hosted by me, Forrest Nash, your friendly neighborhood radio host, mechanic and savior. Sit tight while the record spins, folks. This one goes out to you, Sandra. It's funky, it's groovy, it's stab in the twilight.
Wait a second. This one is called what? It is called what? This one goes out to you, Sandra. Stab in the twilight.
Doesn't the station have a show about cars? The Tamora twins or something?
Timberline Twins Talk Motors. Yeah. You know they're not even brothers.
Really? They look the same, though.
I know, but they're not even related. It's weird. I asked them about it once, and they got really sweaty and defensive. Anyway, go see what you can find. The offices are out the door and down the hall.
All right, let's go learn how to... We're going to go learn how to do this. Ladies' bathroom.
So many locked doors, so few keys.
All right, let's see the twins. Shh, cut the phone line. Oh, can't do it. Okay. If I were twins, where would I sit? Stab at Twilight. Oh, right. Must be a doctor. Oh, tools though. Tools. Okay.
Now this has to be important.
Okay, it's in the bathroom. Somebody's huevos rancheros aren't sitting with them.
I need a key to get in there.
Okay, not there. Oh boy. Not that. There it is.
This looks useful.
Okay, and now we're gonna expect it. Step 1, use a screwdriver as a key. If that fails, remove the steering column cover, check the serial number, then strip and twist the following wires together. If there's a 4 before 3... What the fuck's happening? Interesting. Okay, if there's a 4 before 3... What the fuck is happening? Okay, anyways, chat, I need to move you real quick. Give me a second. You're kind of blocking the screen for me a little bit, so it's making it hard to see. Whoop. Whoop. There we go. I'm gonna make moans increase the hole in chat. Wait, why are we moaning? Should I be moaning? Do we got... Anyways, check the serial number, then strip and twist it. There's a 4 before a 3, and the number 7, and then the red and blue. If there's a 6... Alright. If there is a 4 before a 3... Oh, God. Okay, if there's a 4... Damn it, I hate puzzles like this. There's a 4 before a 3, and a number 7, and the number red and blue. If there's a 6 anywhere and doesn't start with a 5, green and brown. If there's a 0 at the end, and 3 doesn't come before 6... Okay. Okay, I got this. Wait, place object in tray? What tray? What tray? What tray? Oh, there it is.
Anything?
Yeah, I found a magazine about hot wiring cars.
Well, that sounds perfect. Okay, Forrest, shut the music off.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I'm reading this, chat. If the alarm is sounding, cut the triple braided green wire. Do not the double braided green wire or the quadruple braided green wire. Doing so will mess with the electronics. Check the serial number, then strip and twist the following wires together. If there's a 4 before a 3 and a number 7 and the number... So I think I can cheat, technically, chat. I might cheat this. I might cheat this. Oh, hi, Chubb. How you doing? We might cheat this a little bit, okay? Because I can pause, and then I can read the paper. See, I can read it from here. Oh, right.
Caller on line 1.
Thanks, Peggy. We're back with 189.16, The Scream. How are you holding up, Sandra?
16.
But I've got my tools. Let's hope it don't come moving. How do we start this baby?
Okay, wait, put the screwdriver Twist clockwise.
Put the screwdriver in the ignition and twist clockwise.
Here goes, baby. Screwdriver's too fat to fit. What next?
All right, remove the steering column.
Unscrew the steering column.
All right.
We got this.
Just turn. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
God, how long are these screws? Okay, cover's off. There's a bunch of wires down here all paired up, and oh God, my heart is pumping.
Tell me exactly what you see.
Okay, I can do this.
This is insane.
There's a red wire, a blue wire, a yellow wire, a green wire, and a brown wire.
Cool. Serial number.
What's the serial number on the steering column?
The number is
Fuck. Okay, 576. So if there's a 6 and it doesn't start with a 5, so it's not this one. 576. If there's a 0 at the end and 3 doesn't come before a 6,
576
and 3 doesn't come before a 6.
94 320.
Okay, red and yellow.
Strip and twist together the red and yellow wires.
All right. We take the red and the yellow and we twist and we turn. Oh, perfect. I also see a pink and purple wire. What next?
Strip the purple. Strip the purple wire and brush it against the twisted cables.
Strip the purple wire and brush against the twisted wires.
There we go.
We strip and we brush and...
Yes!
Yeah, buddy. Fantastic work, baby.
Woo!
Anytime you want to come down to the jazz studio, you get in for free.
We did it.
I almost can't believe it, but we did it.
Nice work, Forrest. I bet Sandra is positively jazzed that you answered her call.
You bet I am, baby.
We did it, Forrest!
We did it.
Sure did. Here comes another hit track that we're excited to share with you.
And remember, if you're also having car troubles, then tune in to Timberline Twins Talk Motors here on 189.16, Monday to Friday at 5. Take it away, Forrest.
Enjoy this classic by Smooth. It's their hit song, The Word.
I still can't believe this is happening.
Right? Like Gallows Creek.
Can you imagine if she crashed?
What do you
That'd be
mean?
so funny.
Gallows Creek is a miserable place to live.
Really? Miserable?
Peggy, be honest, it's a dump. There's nothing to do here. Hell, I'm almost ready to thank this whistling guy for at least making things interesting.
Well, I like it here. People are polite and...
Mm-hmm. They're
kinda
polite.
Usually, if you get to know them. Come on, there must be something you like about this place.
Sandra's gone.
I guess some folks have been okay. You're not terrible after a while.
Not terrible after a while?
Top tier, top tier. Top. He's so good at complimenting people, chat.
You know what I mean, Peggy.
I do. It's Forrest Nash for I think you're swell. Anyway, I hope the killer is done for the night and that Leslie gets back soon.
Me too. Can we at least call off that stupid Guess the Scream contest now?
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah! Woo! We did it!
Caller on line 1.
All right.
Time to turn the music off.
Evening, caller. This is Forrest Nash.
Why
host
can't I
of
not make any of them now?
916, The Scream. And tonight's 911 stand-in.
Mm-hmm.
Forrest, my name is Brian.
Yeah?
Brian Ponty.
Chat, I've decided to be mean to you.
Of Ponty's Pizza.
Hi, Brian Ponty of Ponty Pizzas. God,
Hello, Brian
y'all smell,
Ponty
you know
of
that?
Ponty's Pizza.
Y'all stink.
What have you got to say?
It's the best I can do is being mean. I'm sorry, chat.
Deputy Martinez has survived. I've seen her a lot over the years down here at
Should I be meaner?
Porky's Pizza.
I'm really, chat.
Did a really
Really?
good job. And as a thanks for all you did there,
Y'all came here to be degraded by a random man on the internet. Is that what you really want? That's insane.
coupons for free pizza here at Porky's Pizza.
Wow, Brian.
Why, you can't find somebody
That's
better to do
really
it for
good,
you?
man. You really don't have to, though.
Oh, it's the least I can do. And if you like it, well, you're in luck, because we're always running great deals that'll have you eating for
Fuck ass
pennies.
dog.
Sounds great, bro.
And let me tell you, the pizza we have is to die for.
Homie.
No.
Homie. Don't worry about it.
It's all right.
Oh, thank you for listening.
The pizza we have is to die for.
You or
Intrusive
anyone
brains has hurt me,
else
Daddy.
Coming on down to Ponty's Pizza. We've got a
Why
great
is he
deal
Irish?
weekend, our famous beer and pizza deal.
Wait a minute.
Come on down to Ponty's Pizza this weekend. You've just got to pay for one slice to get yourself.
God damn it. You're just calling in to advertise your shop. Peggy, hang up on him.
Done. Oh, real quick, before I forget, it's probably time we played a paid ad.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
You know how to play an ad, right?
Nope.
Nope.
In-flight check time.
Christ.
Our captain would like to remind you that the station is required by law to play advertisements from our sponsors. Grab a cassette and stick it in the player.
Which player? What player? What player? What player? Huh?
The cassette player is on the desk in front of you, just above the sound blaster. There should be a cassette in the dock nearby.
Oh! Oh, God. Oh.
Done.
Teddy Gallows Jr. is a family man, a devout Christian, and a proud patriot. Teddy Gallows Jr. is Gallows Creek. Like his father and all his fathers before him, Teddy Gallows Jr. has worked hard to create jobs, improve infrastructure, and make Gallows Creek a good place to raise a family. Unlike current mayor Linda Cartwright, Teddy Gallows Jr.
Oh, wow. It's a sponsored ad.
He's our
Can we stop
neighbor,
this one?
and he stands with our neighbors. Like Sheriff Matthews, who, after years of keeping the peace, Mayor Cartwright is trying to force into early retirement. Teddy Gallows Jr. doesn't believe in keeping a good man out of a job. Teddy Gallows Jr. believes in the American dream.
It is funny.
Does
That man is
Linda
dead.
Cartwright? Help Teddy Gallows Jr. keep Gallows Creek a good American town. Help him become mayor. Take a swing for Gallows Creek. Vote for Teddy Gallows Jr.
My name is Teddy Gallows Jr., and I approve this message.
God, what a jackass.
100% grade A asshole.
Linda Cartwright isn't super herself, but she's not...
Yeah, we don't have any more of those ads to air tonight, do we?
No, just the one.
Good. I have to ask, though. Take a swing for Gallows Creek?
He set the home run record for Gallows Creek High.
Of course he's one of those guys.
Yep, he played lots of sports back in the day.
Right. Let's just get back to the show. Well, folks, hearing that
Yeah.
reminds me that every vote matters.
That ad really made me want to take a swing at Teddy Gallows.
You mean take a swing for Teddy Gallows?
Yeah, sure.
Let's find out from our next caller who's got their vote. Welcome to The Scream with me, Forrest Nash.
Yeah, Leslie. This is Maurice Russell from the Gallows Reporter. I'm at the office. This guy just broke in downstairs and... Wait.
Oh, that would make sense.
Horace Nash? I want to speak to 911. Put Leslie on.
What? God, another one?
189.60.
I am 911, at least for tonight, anyway.
Damn it, son. I don't care who you are. Just put me on with Sheriff Matthews.
Sheriff Matthews is dead.
What happened? Did you witness the incident? Are you willing to do an interview for the reporter?
Don't do an interview, right? Motherfucker, you're about to die.
A source, if that's a concern.
We're live on the air. Anything we say can and will be broadcast.
Live on? Damn it. All right. There's obviously a lot more going on than I know.
Yeah, there's a lot happening tonight.
You said someone broke in.
Someone broke in.
That's nothing to get worked up about. Some idiot kid just broke in, dressed as the Whistling Man. They get worse every year. This punk wasn't even a disappointing twinkle in his daddy's eye when Edward Marshall Mooney.
This guy's dead. This guy's dead.
I was there. I covered it.
You don't understand. That's not a prankster. That's the Whistling Man.
Of course it's not.
He's dead.
It's a stupid kid. Every year this happens. They think it's funny. Not a big deal, old man. But they didn't live through the terror 30 years ago.
Really?
I know for a fact. Edward Marshall Mooney is dead.
Allie, how many people are on that list?
Looking at on the security monitor. But if he killed Sheriff Matthews,
Where
Ain't anybody on that list?
in the boardroom, upstairs. We got security cameras all around the building. You can watch them on any TV set here. And there's a set in the boardroom.
All right, here we go.
Maurice, is there any way you can get out of there?
I sure as shit hope so, kid. But I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. That crash you heard was him tipping over my filing cabinets.
Oh man, you're wrecked. You're dead. He's not. You're not going anywhere, buddy. I believe in you though.
Stairs are the only way out.
That's right. And it would take me a good few minutes to move those cabinets.
We need to do something. But what? All we can do from here is... Forrest, I think I've got it. Why don't we call the killer? They'd have a bunch of phones set up across the office, right?
Oh, this is gonna
In
be so
different
fucking
rooms
stupid.
with different extensions?
Oh, this is so
we
fucking
call
stupid.
one of them,
What?
Draw the killer away.
And get an exclusive interview with the killer. That could be interesting.
No, I mean we just make a distraction.
It's worth a shot.
I can hear you, you know. The son of a bitch hasn't killed me yet.
Sorry, Maurice. Peggy and I were just trying to figure out...
You realize how stupid that plan sounds, right? For that to be successful, you're gonna need every phone extension. Plus, a plan of the entire office floor. All delivered while the killer is en route. I've got it. And thank God I've always been cool under pressure.
Gum.
Don't go anywhere.
All right, chat. We're leaving. Hey, look. Macreed Street will be closed from
I
2nd.
don't think the killer got it, do you?
Residents will be unable to access connecting road. Oh shit, he's back.
Going to be here any second too. Go check your fax machine. Don't let me down.
What do you mean? Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Tell me where the fax machine is again, Peggy?
The fax machine's in the office on the other side of the hall.
Thanks, Peggy. Be right back.
All right, we got it. We got it. Got it.
Okay.
You better tell me if I'm on the list. Tell me if I'm on the list.
The hall.
You better tell me if I'm on that
Grab the
list.
fax from the machine. Easy. This must be it.
Is there anything else we need here? No. Tell me. What? I'm not. You won't tell me. Crazy. Oh, I'm getting eepy, but I have an ASMR collab to record. You'll never know. Come on, tell me. Be good for me and tell me. Cheese.
I'm not getting in there tonight.
What are you almost done with? Chapter 3. Oh no. No.
Hey, did you get the fax?
Yeah. Okay. So he's at the stairs, so we need to get him to the editor's... Maybe the boardroom? But he's probably by the fax machine right now, so we want to try to get him to, like, the archives. Okay.
Yes, I have. Mr. Russell?
Mm-hmm.
You still with us?
I am. You get my fax?
Yeah, I got it right here.
I want a pound of gummy bears.
You could at least manage that.
Okay, folks.
Really?
Back on the line with Maurice.
You show your friends every
Let's see if
time.
we can help him avoid the whistling man.
I'm gonna make it onto the list.
The whistling man searched every room in the hall leading up to the boardroom. And now he's in the office next door. It's now or never. This plan of yours better work.
I'm ready on my end for us.
Okay, we need to start with
Again,
the
I want to
archives.
draw the killer away by dialing an extension number, and then move Maurice somewhere safe. So, what extension should I call?
We're gonna move him to the archives. Archives.
Call the archives. The extension is 01.
Got it. I'll put the call through when you're ready.
All right, Nash. Where do I need to go?
Okay, archives. We're gonna go to. Go to the kitchen.
Moving to the kitchen.
The kitchen? That's just across from the archives. It's going to be tight. Are you sure, Nash?
Let me rethink this.
Let me rethink this.
Damn it, man! Do you want me to
We
be
need
a
to call the
headline
editor
murder?
then.
Hurry up!
On second thought, let's dial another room.
Let's dial another... Boy!
Come on, come
we're
on.
wasting time!
He's right, Forrest. I can get another number ready, but we probably won't get to change our minds again.
We'll take him to the
Where do you
editors.
want me to call?
Call the editor's office.
Call the editor's office. The extension is 03.
Got it. I'll put the call through when you're ready.
All right, Nash. Where do I need to go?
You're moving to the kitchen.
Yeah. That makes sense.
There we go.
Go somewhere he's already checked. Not bad, Nash.
I'm ready to
Oh,
place
you
the
can
call.
though.
Are you ready, Mr. Russell?
Don't have much choice, do I? Make the call.
Yes, sir. Calling now.
There you go, Palma.
I can't believe it. He's actually heading to my office.
It was all Peggy's idea. Trying to go to her.
Don't mention it.
The coast is clear. I'm shutting off the TV so he won't see me on the security cameras. Then, making my move. I'll call when I get there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he'll make it okay?
I'm sure he'll be fine. But now, what do we do?
Who knows?
We gotta find some way for him to get past that barricade.
What do you mean?
I don't think calling the whistling man is gonna buy Maurice enough time to move those cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta think of something else.
Yeah. Maybe we could... Oh!
Fuck, 1 second, chat. I need to
Ready?
remove...
Ready as I'll ever be. Put him through.
Where'd it go?
Alrighty. Mr. Russell, are you there?
There we go.
I am. I don't think he saw me.
Sorry, I had to remove my chokers.
Credit for that, but I'm not out of the woods yet.
Right, let's review where we are. So, the only way out is by the stairs, which
I had a
the whistling
collar.
man has blocked with furniture.
And a chain.
Exactly.
And it just felt heavy on my neck.
Furniture out
And I
of the
removed
way.
it now. Oh, 1 second. DMs, 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 DMs. My DMs.
Not quickly or quietly.
Can you lock him in a
Lock him
room?
in a room? That'd probably buy you time enough, right?
Maybe. But the damn fire regulator.
It's just the weight of it on my neck.
Has to unlock from the inside. He'd be able to get out just as soon as. Wait.
You didn't DM me, Aura. Aura, I checked my DMs. I didn't get a DM from you. What do you mean? Huh? Oh, yeah, but the rule is I have to be paid to read it. I'm not reading it for free.
The secret archive through my office, where we keep our most sensitive records.
Also, I don't think Desi's here.
A secret archive? Reggie would love that. What have you got back there? Juicy secrets about outer space?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know you were into conspiracies, Peggy.
I may have borrowed a few tapes from our
Don't
manager's
try to get
office.
money from
He
Desi.
has quite the collection.
But I mean, Desi at least needs to be here for it.
Box is piped down. I've got it all figured out. The secret archive. There's no lock on the inside of that room. Only the outside. You can't break out. If we can get him in there, and I lock him in.
We can catch the
I believe in you, okay.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Do I
Forrest,
have to
we
do
might be able
this?
to end the nightmare right here.
Hi,
so should I call the
Jamie.
secret archive then?
You can't. The archive is a room for secrets.
Do I have to do
gossip.
this?
So we don't have a phone in there.
Oh, we're gonna need to change it up then. Any ideas, Forrest?
Maybe we could use a radio.
There's no radio in the secret archives.
Are there no radios at your offices?
I don't have one in my office, but...
Oh. Why the name change, Jamie?
Hopkins.
All right, I guess I need to do this. How long is this one? Okay. Give me a second. Oh, gotcha. All right, chat. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, Vanya has written a fanfic about me and my hatred, though they claim love, for the Big Mac. There has been two of them so far. In the first one, I confessed my love to the Big Mac. It went very well, and the Big Mac then called me later, and we made a date. For number two, I tried to go on a date with the Big Mac, and it turns out that the foot cake was there, and it flirted with me instead, and then Big Mac walked in and saw me with the foot cake. We are now, it has ended there, and we are now on chapter 3. Apparently, it's now called Lucky Life. Keiki-san. And Big Mac Senpai. Okay. We'll get some music going. Give me a second. Romantic lo-fi. Why not? I don't know if Desi has paid for this one. If Desi has not paid for this one, that's fine. If Desi has paid for this one, hey, thank you, Desi. Okay. It's a longer one. This one's only like 4 pages, right? That's fair. Desi did pay for the previous ones. Is the music too loud? We'll turn it back down. Okay, you ready? Chad, I forgot about something. Give me a second. Chat, I need to find something real quick. This is going to take me just a second. I need to see if I can load something. Yeah. One second. God, where is it? Did I make a new one? Got it. Okay. You ready? I got the book. Yeah. You don't like the book? I'll put it away. Okay. Let's read this. A visual novel? What? Chat, if you make this into a visual novel, I will 100% voice it. Absolutely free. I have voice actors that we can get involved, and we can get either people from the stream or some other voice actors that I know that we can actually get involved in this. I don't... I'll invest into it. I don't know. This is stupid. Okay, chat. We have this. You ready? Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2. Gene laid in bed, face down in his pillow as his sobs were muffled in the now-soaked casing. Why did he even believe his luck had finally paid off for once? He barely even remembered the end of the date, how Keiki-san kept holding on to him, albeit too tightly. While he failed to get his senpai to understand he wasn't trying to cheat on him before they were official, before they were able to finally act all cute and romantic like he had dreamed for ages. He tossed a stray cushion across the room with a deep snarl of discontent, hearing the way it pathetically thudded against the wall on the other side of the room, the same way he felt his heart break into pieces when Senpai had just silently walked out of the cafe without a word, leaving him to fend for himself against Keiki-san. God, that look, that took, what, an hour in itself to pry his damn hands off him before having to run for his life as his now supposed stalker chased after him through the streets? Wait, what's the horny police? Hey, there's nothing happening here, horny police. There's nothing happening here. I am not reading about how I'm apparently dating cake and a Big Mac. Don't worry about it. I was paid for this. It's okay. He turned in bed, laying on his back as his arm rested where his face was to shield his teary eyes from any hint of light, only sourced from the edges of his curtains. Dumbass, he muttered, voice dry as he sniffed hard against the now runny mucus dripping down from his nose. Shouldn't have fallen in love and expected anything. I'm gonna let me finish the story before I get arrested. You'll never take me alive, copper. And so, accepting defeat that the cosmos had apparently handed to him, he went to sleep, dreaming of what would have happened if Keiki-san hadn't ruined his chance. What could have been a perfect date with his beloved Mac-senpai? Monday came, and he wished it didn't, sulking to himself quietly as he slumped his way back to the stink street high, while everyone else around him, clueless to his misfortune, stepped into school. He sneaked into class, sitting into his chair next to the classroom window as he immediately used his bag as a cushion to rest his head down on it, facing the wall to avoid any glances from the rest of his classmates, especially his. And God, was it a fucking nightmare, having to keep pretending he was fine while noticing the way Big Mac Senpai was barely even acknowledging him during the morning student check-ins. Normally he would make the rounds before homeroom teacher arrived, even if it was just to say a quick greeting for the day. Skipped. And of course stupid fuckface Audrey noticed first. Oh, she sniggered from behind, flicking a hard eraser crumb into the back of his head. Somebody get rejected over the weekend? How lucky of you. Fuck off, Ed. And then the teacher arrived before he could even promptly retort. Not that he even had one in mind, nor prepared. The room had finally hushed, but hadn't quieted down since he could hear the silent whispers of the other students of 3C to each other, now gossiping that thanks to Audrey. Great. Just what I fucking needed. By the way, isn't 3C like the stupid class? Right? Isn't it like 3A is the smart class and 3C is the stupid class? Did you intentionally put me in the stupid class, Vanya? Is that what I'm understanding here? I need clarity real quick. Definitely shout out Vanya. Do follow Vanya. They're amazing, but 3E is the dumb class. Okay, so I'm not in the idiot class. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're not allowed to change the class unless I somehow get thrown back down. Okay, settle down, please. Professor Sheldrake sighed, tapping his cane against the front room podium, clearing his throat as everyone decided to shut their mouths for the moment. I have an announcement to make, if you please. I'm here to introduce you to you a new student for the class. Hold on. He fidgeted with the glass frame, nodding towards the room door as a silhouette moved from the other side of the door's window before the door opened once more to the side and stepped in as a new student, lean and tall, more so than Max Senpai's frame. As everyone gasped at his appearance, a laid-back energy radiated off of him as he swayed to the front of next to the teacher, lazily scanning the sea of students with a small smirk. Introduce yourself. Oh no, I just saw a German accent. The guy rubbed his hands into his hair, half annoyed, sounding a t as his through his teeth before sighing. Do I have to? Right. He finally spoke with a thick German accent, causing half the class to pause, including Gene himself. Hello there. The name is Leonardo. Wait, secretly out of jealousy, he might add. Hello there. The name is Leonardo Dog, but call me Leo for the love of that's good. Fuck. The teacher watched as Leo immediately sauntered off from the front of the class, shrugging, going quietly, gathering his notes for the day. Leo whistled, ignoring most of the gazes from everyone, while deciding to eye Gene down. What was up with the recent trend of random boys deciding to notice him all of a sudden, especially in the past few days? Yo, Rotkopf, Leo called out as he slung his bag to the empty desk in front of him with a wider smirk. Mind if I become your window brother for the rest of the year? Okay. Gene, taken aback, blinked up at the towering boy in a stunned silence before pathetically why is everything I do pathetic? Pathetically choking on his attempt to clear his throat. Yeah, no problem there, sir. Why is he calling him sir? Gene, taken aback, blinked up at the towering boy in stunned silence before pathetically choking on his attempt to clear his throat. Oh, wait, no, I just read that. Damn it. I'm rereading the same line. No. Professor Sheldrake paused, glasses slightly slipping off of his nose before he quickly refitted them and tugged on the side of his moss green turtleneck. Ah, before I forget, you should be shown around the place first, right? Let me elect someone for you. There's no needs. I chose him already, Teach, Leo hollered as he suddenly tugged Jean up by the arm and wrapped his arm around her shoulders, making the dog boy hunch slightly forward from how much attention was on both of them at this point. Fuck's sake, I didn't ask for any of this. Jean spent the next excruciating hour showing Leo around the school grounds, pointing out each corridor and specific rooms needed for his schedule bluntly, while trying his best to avoid the way Leo kept his arm wrapped around his side the entire time. Was this normal for an exchange student back home, or was he just on edge because of how it reminded him of Keiki? As they both of them made their round back to the corridor, they passed by 3A's homeroom, where he immediately recognized the candy-palated, white-haired boy from the weekend, their eyes meeting through the corridor window where Keiki was seated up against in class. He watched as his coffee-tinted eyes went between him and Leo, slowly processing the scene as his expression went from aloof to a mask of chilled hatred, more so to Leo. Yet the look was enough to send a chill down Jean's spine in the crossfire. Oh? Leo perked up while leaning into Jean closer, grinning in amusement towards Keiki's annoyed jealousy on display as the softer boy went audible. The softer boy very audibly began to gnaw away at the candy-colored pencil as they walked away from the sight. You too close? Oh, fuck. 1 second, chat. I need water. Sorry, chat. Sorry. Okay. Oh God, I have too many hands. 1 second, chat. No, wait. Okay. No, I ran out of moisture in my throat. It was not good. Okay. We ready? Where were we? You two close or were? I know the look of bitter resentment of past lovers, you know. Not ex-boyfriends, Jean grumbled through his bared teeth as he stared down to the linoleum hallway flooring. But he ruined my chances at my first love recently. Oh, so he's just a jealous troublemaker, yeah? No, this is not. I'm not going to make this a fucking... I suppose. One that's way too hands-on and clingy at that, too. Leo looked at both of them before slowly sliding his arm off Jean, whistling lowly in unsaid apologies. Ah, I see. Well, listen, at least I can relate from multiple experiences, so, hey, you know what? Leo slowly stopped in front of him, staring at Jean softly in a more friendly manner than Keiki ever could, as the boy tucked both his hands into his pockets. How about this? As a thank you for being my tour guide and letting me be class partners, we buddy, You keep guiding me, even with classes, and I'll help you with the romance part of school. Jean rubbed at his brow, grumbling once again. I don't think I ever agreed to helping you out with studies. I'll even help you with keeping the icing boy away from you. Deal. Yes, it's a German hot dog. That's why I'm doing the accent. The both of them finally walked their way back into class, sitting down without much drama while the girls in the back row began gossiping about the exchange student, just like tradition, according to high school society, it seems. Gene yawned. Already hunched over his textbooks for the next hour, already taking notes in the bed next to it. Before he could fully engross himself in his studies, Leo sounded a small psst while looking over his shoulder, handing over a note to Gene's desk with a wink. Before looking to the front once more. Damn, why was that wink kind of cute? Wait, did he secretly have a thing for cute boy winks now? Gene shook his head before finally reading the note. Incessantly tapping his heel against the floor beneath him, out of habit, as he quickly read over the hastily scribbled message. Thanks you once again for being so welcoming, friend. I can't wait to be close to you. Cutie. Is that cutie but spelled with an accent? It's adorable. Gene's right eyelid ticked at the final word before he slowly looked back up, a light blush on his cheeks before he instantly regretted not going immediately back to his books. Instead, as he gazed, met with Max Senpai, seeing him look over his shoulder almost coldly as he witnessed the whole silent exchange happen, until slowly looking back to the front to answer a question from Professor Sheldrake. Fuck. Gene's heart sank before he crumpled the note in his fist and pouted, staring out the window to his side. Instead, as his neck grew hot, just how many damn times would a misunderstanding come across the both of them? And to think this was looking like the rest of the year. He couldn't wait for the shit to be over with. And there we go. You can arrest me now. Take me away. Thank you. That was... Well... Yeah, Max Senpai needs to stop, reading into things too much. I mean, like, really. Cuffs already? It's fine. You can take me. You can come grab me, except you'll have to catch me first. Wait, did I not leave the screen? Damn it, I'm still on the screen. He'll never take me alive! Wait, what do you need to tell me? Oh my God, Vanya, are you the professor? Are you the professor? Vanya's the professor. Ah. All right, Turtle. Oh, you're Audrey and Valerie. That makes sense. But you're also the professor because you're a turtle. I'm kidding, but I like that. I like that all of them have names that make sense and they're lore-based. All right, chat. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. You want a hug? I would happily give you a hug, Wash Bear. Desi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for paying for the stories. As goofy and silly as they are, they're a lot of fun, and I do truly appreciate the experience we're having with all of this. You are a lovely person. You are a patron of the arts. You are so incredible, and I really appreciate the things that you've brought to this community, okay? So thank you. Thank you for being you. Mwah. Well, chat, now that we're done with that, we have reached the second hour of the stream. And you know what that means, chat. You know what that means. Don't forget, we have a Discord. If it is an 18-plus Discord, there is ID verification. We have a Hear Me Out cake event coming up. So if you'd like to be part of that, feel free to go submit your Hear Me Outs. And if... I think we still have the YCH going on, which will probably end after this Sunday. I'll be, doing a YCH giveaway. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Which is a date with me. Where is it? 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 Wait. Ah, here it is. Boop, boop, boop. And here is the YCH giveaway. If you'd like to go on a date with me, feel free to do so. Now, I'm going to go play my demo reel while I find us something to raid. So if you all are chill with that, we're going to play the demo reel, my voice acting demo reel, and I will find us a person to raid out. So thank you all for being here for today. Mwah. I don't think I'm gonna make it. My legs hurt. Even my brain hurts.
Reversing the polarity will cause a cataclysmic reaction of... turn the dials right. Make device go boom.
I thought I'd left you dead in the desert. I mean, haunted by ghosts, ain't I? I guess I deserve it. Good evening, fellow Mad Cats. DJ Fang is ready to spin more records. Coming up next, 12 commercials back to back. My favorite.
You made it. I didn't think you'd come. No one else has. Still, you seriously made my day. We are not taking any more party members. Wait, are you wearing a dead possum as a scarf?
Nah, she ain't dead. She's just scared. The poor sweetie pie.
Please, take a seat. Right here, by my side. Where you can't get away so easily. I am Nerd. Hear me roar. I can't really roar that well, but I'm trying, okay? Well, that's what the last guy thought. And you don't want to know what happened to him.
Do not be blinded by fear, my child. Embrace it. Welcome it. Let it pass. Remember, only you shall remain in the end.
And that is the demo reel, chat. Okay, so I found somebody to rate out. We're going to rate out to Fish K. Thank you for already having a lucky raid message ready for me. I appreciate that. Chat, if you want to copy and paste that, get ready. We're going to send you all over there to Fish. So you all be good. Love you all so very, very much. Don't forget, every day, 3:30 a.m. during the weekdays, then 4 p.m. later on that day. We stream every single day. No matter the day. No matter if I'm on vacation. No matter what. Mwah, 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 mwah. You've all been amazing. And go say hi to them. Bye.